welcome to this episode of Business Insight. It's always a delight to have you join us and learn as we also get to find out what is happening within this particular era, within this particular country, elsewhere. It's always a delight to have you. I'm Kemcha Doreen, and I'll be taking you until the top of the hour. Now, as we have had lots of discussion, very heated discussions on what is happening in Uganda, the corruption levels, the misuse of monies all throughout, it's more or less a cyclical issue right now. Misuse of resources, the magnitude. Right now, it's not even just a small scale. This is grand scale. Yes, we are the people that are actually misusing this money, not we. The people that are misusing this money, the people that are corrupt are doing it extravagantly. Now, to give us more insight on some of these implications, what is the implication? Our topic today is implications of cyclical misuse of resources in Uganda. What are the implications socially, politically, economically for you and me? And to give us insight, we've got Christine Byiringiro, who is the project manager for Anti-Corruption Coalition Uganda. Welcome, Christine.
Thank you very much, Doreen, and good morning to our viewers.
It's always a delight to have, and when you come in, even right now, it is an understatement to say delight. No, you are here basically to give us the nitty-gritties, to make us understand, and that's the insight that we need. Let's backtrack. We know for sure that this particular corruption in Uganda has been on the increase. The magnitude is way out of proportion right now. It's not as if in the Ugandan context, you have had conversations with people and they say it's okay to eat a little, you know? And when someone comes in and says it's okay to eat a little, when is little, little? Yes, and when is big, big? We have been having this conversation with others, and I think it's time to talk about this. What are the implications to us as Ugandans? Are we now desensitized to corruption? Is it okay? We had this discussion recently, and we mentioned it on Smart Means Business, whereby we had a couple of people in conversations, and they were saying, no, you know what? Since I can't do much about it, let them eat. At the end of the day, they'll go to the supermarket, spend it, and then it will come down to my mudala at the end of the day. Are we desensitized right now? What is happening?
Yeah, thank you, Doreen. And maybe I'll just say citizens do not have to lose hope. They do not have to lose faith, and they must rise up and fight against this cancer because of the simple reason that it affects you. And it will continue to affect you and me if we do not act. And so, what is corruption in the first place? Corruption is dishonesty, dishonesty dealings, misuse of public resources by those that are trusted to hold office on behalf of the citizens, of Ugandans. And so we see that corruption is not a new phenomenon, it's not a new concept.
Yeah.
We have seen it during the colonial days in Uganda. Our colonial masters, of course, were corrupt. They were not accountable at all to us. They were only
That's way back.
Yes. And so even after independence, we see the governments that took on then, for example, Idi Amin, we all remember, or we all know, we have been told how he chased the Asians and gave their businesses to, you know, his friends, his cronies, who were not able to manage them. And
we still believe he was very nationalistic.
All that is corruption, you know. Fast forward to the early 90s when this government had just taken root, we saw them come with quite a number of, you know, laws, the framework, the legal and institutional framework that was set as a foundation by this government to root out corruption was indeed good. It was robust. But nonetheless, we actually see corruption increasing.
It's on the increase.
It is on the increase. We saw it just as corruption of needs and basic corruption in the 90s when there was divestiture and trying to rationalize government. But by then it was more of looting, you know, I'm losing my job, they are rationalizing, and so I want to go with a vehicle, I want to go with a few funds here and there. And when we see, when government did not act at that time, because that was little, let them go and eat. After all, they are losing their job. And you do not know when government is going to compensate you, or if the money is going to come, you know, at once.
So it was out of fear during that time, and they were saying, you know what, it was almost like looting. And say, let me take something with me as I go.
Yeah, and out of need as well, probably, because you know you've lost your job and you don't have much you're going to depend on. Government is yet to compensate you. And so probably that is why government also was soft on them and let this go. But it then becomes cyclical when nothing is done and people take these lessons. Nothing was done.
Memory.
And so we see grand theft coming up as a result. Right from the junk helicopters saga, the Valley Dams, you remember the Gavi Global Fund program. You fast forward to the iron sheets. You know, when you come to Uganda, there's quite...
you know, Christine, as we have this discussion, even as we're talking about it, we have been looking really like way back. You went way back by looking down at Colonial, which is one upper on us. But the reality about it is that when you look at the, you know, from Gavi to the helicopters to Gavi, and then now you come to, it's even changing, it's mutating.
Yes.
You have not only just the huge, but you have really all these tentacles. It's like cancer. It's very cancerous. Everywhere right now.
It is political, it is bureaucratic, it is systematic, it has become endemic in that, you know, you no longer have only one, probably, let's say, institution of government. And I want to note at this point that corruption is everywhere, both in the public and the private sectors. But if we take an example of the government institutions, it's no longer institutional. It has become so, it has, you know, like you called it, it has spread its tentacles through to different institutions who are working together. The president recently told us that the Ministry of Finance, he knows the racket. We are waiting for him to give more details, to bring them out. But we also see it going through to the private sector, especially with procurement. So you have government, private sector,
everywhere.
And it has taken root. The roots have become deep, and so it is going to be hard to fight it, because we have ultimately, over time, as corruption is developing and, you know, taking root, the actions of the duty bearers or the political leaders or, you know, the institutions that are mandated to fight this corruption have not been strong enough to send a message to deter the corrupt. And so when we see, I'm sorry, I'll have to use some of these, the political leaders who are supposed to fight, to help fight this vice. And of course, at the helm, we see the office of the presidency. As all this is happening, we see the presidency trying to shoot down some of these institutions. The IGs, they have come out, both Mulyagoncha and Justice Mulyagoncha and the current IG, Betty Kamya. When the corrupt, especially the big fish, are going to be touched, they run behind the president's back. And the president was quiet at that time. We didn't see response from him. Honorable Betty Kamya comes out and says, I'm coming out with a lifestyle audit. The president tells her to go slow on the lifestyle audit because she will scare the corrupt who are at least investing the proceeds of corruption within the country. And then we later see the PSST last year come out and fire the PS for trade, former PS. And the president comes out and we see headlines, you know, within the same month, the president ordering the PSST to reinstate Geraldine Sally as PS accounting officer for the Ministry of Trade. And so when we see some of these actions by the president, but they are quite discouraging. I mean, we also remember when Mukula had lost the case and been convicted under Gavi.
That was a contradiction.
Yes, by High Court. You have been convicted by High Court, you appeal to the Court of Appeal, and the president is coming out to
that was a contradiction.
Legal fees to his friend.
Till today, it is talked about.
100 million.
It is talked about, but you create an insulation, a bubble, yes, that makes them untouchable.
Yeah.
The budget that that particular insulation budget bubble is what makes some, you know, take enormous amounts of money and then run to Mzee and say, Papa, can you please give me a second chance? Can you please, you know? Yeah. But let's just have a look at some of this footage from yesterday's protest. In the face of all this, let's have this footage. I would want to show, to me, what stood out for me was the fact that you have all these protesters, but if we can backtrack a little bit and see all the different Ugandans that are standing on the balconies of their businesses. Yes, you have these ones. Now, look just at the back, the bystanders right there. I think he's even taking a cup of tea. Yes? To me, that is the person. He is taking a cup of tea as he watches this person, brother. Then the bystanders as well, and the onlookers up. This man is taking tea with his cup. And he is not bothered. You see? Others are protesting. This had been going on. This had been called out. People had been called out. Come and join us and let's rally. This man is taking tea on the side with a purple cup. Yes? What does that show you? To me, what stood out, this is what stood out for me. Of course, as someone who is mindful about the business aspects and of course not wanting to have all this the losses made for the business community. Because this is Smart 24 TV, we are driving business. But we're also very keen on the different issues that come out. When we look at that person with that cup of tea, he even crossed his leg. All the time, my eyes were on those people. What came to mind is, what has happened to Ugandans? Yes? So are we at a point of powerlessness, or we are at that point where we see that patronage? Someone steals billions, someone steals billions, and then even when he is sent into jail, there are stories that are told of the luxurious life that they get to live in jail. They're not even suffering. Yes, they get there and build extensions in jail. They have TV, they have Wi-Fi, they have... There is no difference. The only difference is that their walls. They have KFC, they have all these different, that's a disclaimer, that's as well, it's KFC don't come for us. We cannot tell because we haven't, but we know for sure that the quality of life has not been impacted in any way.
Yes, that is true.
Yes. So to the Ugandan who, as that man was taking his tea, as one was being beaten, what has happened to that man? What has happened to the bystanders up there? Yeah,
so I believe, and he is not only one, there are so many Ugandans who are in his shoes who would act like that, and that is for a reason. It is not because they are not bothered by the corruption that is taking place or by what we are seeing, but it is because, just like I mentioned, the rule of law in this country has lost meaning. We do not have rule of law in this country because we have seen our political leaders just, cause the population to distrust the institutions that have been put in place. And so because we have seen them be minimized and usurped of their powers, citizens do not have the faith that they can actually approach any institution of government and get help. And those are very many. There are very few who will take their cases to court because they are not sure that they will actually get justice.
Yes.
That gentleman right there and the citizens who actually went out to protest, they know that they have the right under the Constitution to protest, you know.
That's their constitutional right, but is it worth it?
Exactly. They know they are trying to practice that right, trying to, you know, live to that right.
Yeah.
And so they organize to protest, and because these rights are there in the Constitution to assemble and peacefully protest against what you're not satisfied with, the public services and the level of governance in this country.
Christine,
yes,
in the face of all the machinery, the artillery that has been, you know, this is not the first time. I think we are getting so desensitized that it's very okay for someone to come in and even stroke, you know, the machinery and just move on. But my colleague here was saying earlier on that because of this display of militaristic power and all that, most are scared. Does that man with the pink cap look scared?
No, he does not look scared to me, because he knows if you attempt to exercise your right and protest, the state, you remember, if you must have listened, and I know you heard it, that day before the protest, the president talked. At least I heard his voice, and he was saying they are playing with fire. That is what I picked.
The choice of words is intentional.
Exactly, the choice of words, you know, it sends a strong message, for example, to that man with a cap, now that we have started using that.
He's actually the face of many Ugandans.
Yes, it sends quite a strong message to those that are planning to come out and express their, you know, express their views. Do not protest, whether it is peaceful or not. I do not know if they, I don't think at the onset they intended to have a violent protest, because they would have notified police in advance as well. But that citizens are not able to come out, and so the gentleman with a cap knew quite well that there will be deployment, because he had seen the day before the protest that police had been deployed
until
in various places.
Until today, they're still there.
And so that speaks to, he speaks for the ordinary citizens. There are quite many out there, while they want to come out and express their dissatisfaction and send a message to government. Government is not willing to listen. It's not,
let's not even just talk about the will. It's not putting forth a conducive environment.
Exactly.
It's not putting forth.
Yes, that forum, that
for
platform
dialogue,
for people to come and engage has been, you know, removed.
Yes.
It is not there. And so the ordinary citizen can only sit back and watch. Now we have become apathetic.
And they're just right now as saying, let them eat.
Yeah, but you see, it is only, I have heard that people sit back and say, let's wait for the money from the corrupt to trickle down to us. But it trickles down to only a few. To only a few, not to the general public.
Not to everyone.
Because for me, or for that lady or man down there at the grassroots, how will this trickle down to them when the level of service delivery, for example, in health, they cannot walk to the clinic,
to the health facility and get malaria tablets?
Exactly. They can't walk to the UPE school and be sure that their child will have a roof over their head as they study. And so the roads they are using, they're in very bad state.
So what you're saying is that even as right now there's a little bit of, can I call it laxity, it's indifference? Is it indifference? Yes. But you see, with indifference, you are saying, let it happen. This is more or less acceptance.
Yeah.
This is more or less acceptance. I'm not unable to do much on my own.
Exactly.
There are those people who are untouchable. They have this cocoon, this wall around them, and I cannot do anything about them. Let me just wait, and may God throw thunder upon them.
And what that has done is to create more poverty and inequality in our society. And because you see, the people, the kinds of people that are relying on public services,
And
on
the
the
needy.
UPE schools, on the health facility, the health centers, 3, 4.
Yeah.
These are the you and me, the ordinary Ugandan. But the ones who
have.
Yes, okay. Those
The
who
haves.
have, the haves. I don't want to call them the
They have it. Those are the ones
I
that
don't-
basically
Yes.
can go to any other hospital. They go to deliver
Exactly.
from. Let's not even.
Exactly.
Let's not even. Let's not quote
Sugarcoat.
this. It is what it is.
Yeah, that is true.
Because we know it's happening.
Yes. So we have seen this facilitate even more poverty and inequality in our society. And so that is how bad corruption is.
And on that note, let's just take a short break. We'll be right back after this and have more insight on what can be done.
Smart 24, driving business.
Cooking oil like no other makes your meal so sweet and scrumptious. The taste of Uganda, yeah, the taste of Uganda, the taste of Uganda, yeah, I want ya.
Are you a female business owner in Uganda looking to grow and transform your business? Grow empowers you with access to entrepreneur services, accelerating your business growth from micro to small and from small to medium enterprises. Grow provides comprehensive support, including training, startup tools, business formalization, certification, networking opportunities, access to affordable credit and grants, coaching, and mentorship, with all resources available for free. For more information, please visit grow.go.ug. Contact the PSFU Grow officers at Trust Towers, ground floor, plot 4 Chadondo Road, Nakasero, or the Ministry of Gender at plot 2 George Street, Simba Manyo House, 3rd floor. Call us at +256 394 514 071. This message is brought to you by the Grow Project, a Government of Uganda project implemented by the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development and PSFU, funded by the World Bank. Grow, generating growth opportunities and productivity for women enterprises.
You used to tell me that I don't make you happy. All that time you would be complaining. I'll call you every day, yeah, yo, baby, don't know.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000 or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21# and select daily or use the MyMTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
Smart 24, driving business.
Welcome back from the break. Now, the man with the pink cap, the man with the pink cap, Christine, that to me tells the story of the average Ugandan. who is looking on
Yes.
as everything happens. We had this talk yesterday with Salam Musumba, and she rallied on, and she was quite vocal about it, very incensed, and said, you know, woe unto you, you can go hang if you have to, because you are inactive. But this man with the pink cap, looking on, he even crossed his leg. That man with the pink cap, I believe, is the face of the average Ugandan in the midst of extravagant corruption. That man there with the cape, with the black cape on his head and the pink cap, is the face right now. He even crosses his leg, is the face of the average Ugandan. A lot is happening, a lot of violence, you know, a violent way of arrest is happening right in front of him, and he moves on and continues drinking. Sorry about that. Christian, give us the statistics. How deep is it? We're even just looking, because normally when this is talked about, we look at the health system. That applies to all of us, because we have lost one person that we know, or some of even our close persons within our households.
Yeah.
We have lost them. We have felt this. We have experienced the lack of drugs. And then, of course, when it comes down to the schools, we also know the public schools and the challenges that they're going through. But we also know, because we cannot take some of our children there, we are so burdened with the fees that are constantly growing at 1 point something, 2 million, 3 million, exorbitant amounts. How deep are we when it comes to debt with Uganda?
So, still sticking to that gentleman with a cap, I just wanted to let you know that according to the IMF at least, and this is truth as well, that both that man with a cap and the ones that were being bundled and beaten up and crushed, if we could use that, are currently indebted to the tune of 2.5 million shillings. So whether he looks on or protests, he is
he is indebted.
He is indebted.
That's the irony of it, that
Yes.
you even called him out.
Yes. So each Ugandan, in other words, is currently indebted to the tune of 2.5 million shillings annually, and
Per head.
that is sad.
Per head.
Yes, even our children. And so if we are not being responsible with the way corruption has taken over this country, the level of misuse of public resources and defense of the corrupt that has helped this to be cyclical, then we are in trouble. Our generation, the generation that is coming after us, is going to be in trouble. They will fail to develop this country because they'll be busy paying back debt.
So let me just recap on this. Of course, we have our budget sitting in very highly at 72 trillion. Then you have now a debt actually that is being accrued over and over. It's coming up from way back, and right now it stands at 96. It stood actually at 96.1 trillion as of June 2023. Now, of this, if we break it down to how the stats were, it has 44.6 trillion is domestic value, and then you have 52.8 trillion as from foreign sources. Now, you are telling me that this man that we have been seeing right now with his pink cap casually taking his tea in different, is he indifferent? Is he, we are yet to find out, because that is the face right now. And you are telling me that right now, even as he's taking his tea from that pink cup, he is in debt. He is in debt at 2.5 million as we speak.
Yes.
You are in debt right now, Christine, 2.5. I am, Doreen, in debt at 2.5.
If you have babies,
unborn.
You know, for every Ugandan that is alive, your child, whether it's a baby of 9 months, they are indebted, and we are going to have to pay back this debt. So the sad truth is that, like you were breaking down our budget and debt, at 96 trillion shillings, our debt, and at 72 trillion shillings as our budget for the next financial year, we see that, of course, on the budget, we have about a 41 trillion to pay back to debt, and we know that debt has to take first call on our resources. How much is URA expected to collect for the next financial year? About 32 trillion. But now if we have to pay back the debt, the 41 trillion, then how much are we left with as a country to run our business? We are in negatives. And so what we'll have to do is to go and do what? And borrow, so that we are able to run our country.
Let me get it straight. Of the 72 trillion budget,
yes,
41 trillion is actually debt servicing.
Yes, whether it is principal, whether it is...
I thought it was 36.
No. You have a debt to BOU, for example, of about 9 trillion that we have to pay within this coming financial year. Actually, that is one of the reasons, because we had to make provision for the debt that we have to pay to Bank of Uganda. That is one of the reasons that our budget
overshot.
Short. You remember what 53
We've
trillion
been
at
on
first,
a steady
then
climb.
68,
Yes, this is
and
the
now
highest so far.
It jumps to 72 trillion. So from a 52 trillion budget, you're running to 72 trillion. And so, but the budget is just, I would want to see it as, just figures, because ultimately the outturn, how much are we going to report on having utilized? But what should concern us is how is our government utilizing this money?
What is
because
really
we are
available?
borrowing this money for a purpose. We are borrowing to develop our infrastructure, but it is not news that we have seen roads that have been eaten, eaten in quotes. We have seen health centers that have been eaten up. We have seen so much that has been looted and taken away from this country. But what has happened to these individuals that have been implicated? If you're a big fish, you swim away. If you're a small fish, because we see the State House Anti-Corruption Unit has come out, and they usually publish and, put in the news some of the public officials. Recently, I've seen a DCDO, a finance officer. Yes. But we have ministers.
The very big ones.
We have ministers, we have MPs, the Mabati scandal.
Do you think the Mabati scandal, its main, and right now this is what people are saying, yes, the sentiment down there, and is that this is just another show, right? It is now a show. In fact, I said to me, this show has dragged on for quite longer than it normally does, and heads are rolling, but are they actually rolling? When you look at people such as Kazinda, do they get to pay back this money?
No, and that is one of the reasons we must do advocacy, and we indeed are trying to do advocacy to make sure that we have a robust framework, or a proper framework for recovering some of these assets from the corrupt.
How effective are you going to be if the legal system right now has its hands tied?
Yes.
Are they even as vocal?
But that is why I started with encouraging, I hope my words were encouraging, to the ordinary citizen out there, to every advocate, even to government institutions. We cannot lose hope.
We can't afford to lose hope.
Yes, we cannot sit back and relax, if I should use the word, like the gentleman with a cup, once again. Because, this is our country. This is our country. If it falls,
if it goes to the dogs,
if it goes to the dogs, it goes. We rise with it. And so, whatever the case, whatever the situation, the context, it is our country, and we must live in it. So we decide how we want to live in it. We want to live in it with all this baggage and the rot.
And continuously planting matoke in the roads.
But then, or do we want to now come out
and have what other countries are?
And it is not a journey of one day. It takes time. It is progressive. For you to realize results, you'll have to keep engaging. If it were, a journey of a day, I'm sure there's so many advocates who are there. Yes. Even the opposition would not
have done something.
Exactly. You say, after all, we have been talking about this, there's been no action, let's pack our bags and go back home and sit. But we cannot do that because we have to fight for this country. We have to raise awareness. We must do all we can to make sure that the ordinary citizen understands what this corruption means to them, the effect it has on them, and then they rise up.
And do something.
Not as one person, by the way.
Collectively.
Because, yes, you have to generate this strong voice and come out and engage government.
But
on
you
issues
you
of
also,
corruption.
you know, even as you're talking right now, to me what stands out is that you who is watching right now, you have a debt of 2.5 million.
And it will
2.5,
increase,
and it's
yeah,
going to
it
just increase. In
continues
fact,
growing.
within the next couple of months, we don't know if it would have shot up to 3 million, you know? And right now, in the gist of this, even amidst this, we still have those people that have bags of money and bundles of money under their beds.
Yes.
Yes?
One
Who
of
are part and parcel.
well, the corruption that we have in this country, some of it is political corruption, and now we are approaching 2026.
The elections.
Yes, so that one is also cyclical. Every time you're approaching the election period, you will always see corruption, and it is at different levels. You know,
Yeah.
it is grand, it is petty, petty in as far as your MP or your political.
We've seen those ballot boxes.
Yes, will
Yes.
come and give you soap, sugar, salt, and will get the vote from the ordinary Ugandan. But the Ugandan does not know that the kind of person
It is not
who they are
free.
sending in
That
this
soap
office
is not free.
exactly is the very person who is going to eat up the road that is supposed to be for that person.
Yes, yes.
Will eat up that health
When you
center.
actually think of it, yes,
Yes.
that every time you touch that piece of soap or that little sugar or that 5,000 paid at the bar up country, 10,000, yes,
planting a seed.
what you are doing is
Yes.
don't think of it as it is free. It is not free.
Exactly.
That money, that MP, once he gets elected, he or she gets elected, will have to look back for that money. And where are they going to get it?
Exactly.
They're going to look for it in different places.
Exactly.
Places that you would, that's the health facility. Drugs that you should be getting, that is the road that you should be. And this is why yesterday, Salam Musumba was very particular. And in our conversation, please look it up on YouTube. You can be able to access it, Smart 24 TV official or Smart 24 TV on all our social media platforms. Get back and look at some of these conversations that we have. She was very particular and said that please, choose wisely, choose your leaders wisely, and do not really fixate and look at that bar of soap, yes, that little kilo of sugar. Now, when we bring out all this, Christine, when you tell me that I'm indebted to a tune of 2.5 million, which would definitely do something good to my small business and my quality of life, when you tell me I am, because someone ate that money, now I'm forced to pay it back. And then in addition to that, I have to cover my head when I'm sitting on a border because I'm riding on a bad road. You know, all this really, really sometimes is very deflating.
Yes.
It takes away the energy from us. And maybe that is why the pink capped man is looking on and saying, now, what do I do, Nkolentia? Sort of attitude. I want, in just the next few minutes that are here, what do you think are the alternative ways in which me and you and that man with the pink cap and all those he represents can do something about changing this narrative, because it is getting wider and higher?
Yeah, so there is, again, I'll go back to our constitution. And our constitution says all power belongs to the people. There
But
is
does
a
it?
reason. Yes, all power belongs to the people. It does not belong to you, Doreen, or me, Christine, alone. But if you come as a people, not as a person, then you're able to change the narrative in as far as corruption in this country. And so we need to see that people come out. We've been talking about the elections. If we came out and decided as a people that we are not going to vote whoever is bribing, can we do that? Because we have seen corruption become so much rooted and accepted in our society that people will not refuse to take that bar of soap.
Yeah. Because
That
they
kilo of
need
salt.
it.
Yes, you need it, and so that is why you that would show that you're needing the corruption as well. And so it takes courage, it takes people that are resolute.
Don't
to be
look at
able
the
to,
now.
Yes, to be able to put their foot down, you have to make sacrifices. In every situation, if you want something good, it does not come on a silver platter. And so we, first and foremost, as citizens, have to check the quality of leaders that we are putting back in office. What would happen, for example, during this election, if we decided that we are not going to bring back every public official that has been implicated in any corruption scandal? Let us also help the president to fight corruption. How are we going to help him? We show him that we are tired of this corruption. Let us rise up as citizens, because this country belongs to us. Let us demand that he, that he implements the laws and the policies that he has put in place. Because if we come out and demand the political will, if he has put in place institutions, why can't he let the institutions be independent and work?
Or they eat the money. They eat the money and vote someone else.
No. That is wrong.
People don't want to talk about these things, but these are things that person down there, that person down in Rebekona will ask you, someone has given me the potato, you don't want me to eat the potato, I will, at least tell me in this, you're not living in my shoes. That's what this person will say.
But that is dishonesty. If we go back to corruption, that is dishonesty, and you're encouraging corruption within yourself. Why do you want me to take something from you and yet I'm not going to give you my vote? So we need to come even right from from society. We need to get back to our institutions, our schools, as we raise our children, our youth. We need to inculcate these values within them, that you do not take something that does not belong to you. You work for what you earn,
And this should be embedded within patriotism.
Exactly. So if we do not nurture that kind of,
feel for your country.
Yes, the citizenry that we need, then we'll not be trying to deal away with corruption.
Yes.
Yeah, so my appeal really to all citizens to not give up hope and engage. We have to continuously engage, because at the helm of it all, at the apex, we have the president. If it were up to me, if I was the president, of course, I'll say I would be able to deal with corruption. But we call out to the president. We want to see him come out and be stern with the corrupt.
Why do you think he hasn't really lived up to the expectations of those who hold him in high esteem and are saying you have every right, you have every power right now to come in and change the narrative? Why is he still playing, seen as some to play fido-dido with this? We
have been told that his advisors, that the people he surrounds himself with, probably misadvise him. You remember with the handshake, the popular handshake, where he said he was wrongly advised or misadvised. But I do not know, I wouldn't want, of course, to think for the president, but the message he is sending across the country right now is not the right message.
It's not good.
If what he says he wants to do, which is to fight corruption, if that is what he actually wants to do, then he's sending the wrong message. When we see people being, put in and he brings them out, he says don't touch them, he tries to defend those who have, we want him to just sit aside and let the institutions which he has put in place be independent and do their work.
Why aren't organizations such as yours reaching out further and coming together? Because collective is better, really, is stronger than one. Why aren't you coming together as organizations and really getting to the top and saying, no, we need to talk to you, Mr. President, and advise you basically on where this is going, this is not right. Because I believe if you did that, there's quite a lot that can be done by the CSOs and the different NGOs in Uganda. Why aren't you together coming up and saying, hey, this is what is there. You did ABC, the same things you've talked about right now.
Yes.
You did ABCD, this handshake of yours is still being talked about right now. You bailed out Mukula and his cronies during that time. You did ABCD, and this is what it is doing. Why isn't that happening?
So the CSOs and organizations and even many different individuals and groups, I think, have tried their best to be able to reach out to the different political leaders, the institutions who are in place. They have tried really. There are efforts that people are engaging.
Yeah.
But more importantly, and what I believe, and which most of these organizations believe, is that, again, the power belongs to the people. And we have seen that it is hard to fight corruption using the top-down approach.
It has to be
and so we need to make sure that we raise a critical mass that will come up and engage. Because you cannot, like ACO, Anti-Corruption Coalition, it was formed to provide this platform, this forum, for all anti-corruption actors to come together and generate this strong voice and a force that will be able to engage.
Yeah.
And so how we are doing that, I'll speak for my organization. We are working with and through several other actors and at different levels. For example, we have over 15 regional anti-corruption coalitions spread across the country. In Rwenzori region, we have a Rwenzori Anti-Corruption Coalition, we have a Midwestern Anti-Corruption Coalition, Karamoja, Kigezi, these anti-corruption coalitions. And these also have members who are groups or civil societies or CBOs at that level. And what we do is raise awareness, give them information. We do a lot of research that informs our advocacy. So once we give them this information, by the way, we train them as well on how to conduct monitoring for government programs, public service delivery, and then engage at their levels, at the sub-county, at the district, at the region, and then we also work at the national level. So we have seen there has been effort. The country is big. It's huge. We have seen efforts at different levels, but then there's still a lot more that needs to be done.
More to be done.
And then I must mention, while as civil society, as NGOs, as groups, while we can influence government, while we are mandated to be a watchdog, and we advise government.
And it clearly doesn't listen.
Yes, we cannot replace government. We cannot replace government. We cannot force government. We can only try to be persuasive and,
Yes.
So ultimately...
And show the urgency.
Yes, ultimately, the role to fight and implement the legal and institutional mechanisms that
still lies with us.
Still lies with government. But we can only push government to make sure that they implement this.
And who is to do the pushing? It's me, it's you, and it's the person watching right now. Whether you have a pink cup or black cup, whatever it is, you are part and parcel of this fight. Thank you so much, Christine.
Thank you.
It has really been quite some. You've brought some urgency, and I am hopeful that we should have hope and not despair. Because when you begin cracking down the numbers and telling us that 2.5 million, really, the person watching me right now, we are thinking to ourselves, what mess have we gotten ourselves into? But let's rally up, let's keep on to this, let us do our part, because guess what? The reality about it is that if we are to effect any change, it is you and it is me, as well as you, Christine. We've had Christine Birinjiro, who is the project manager for Anti-Corruption Coalition Uganda, join us and give us insight. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, and please join us. You can be able to get as well onto different social medias to let us know, different social pages to let us know what you think about some of these topics. Are you that particular person who is sitting back and saying, let me just wait, or I am tired? Do you know that right now you are indebted really at 2 2.5 million shillings as we talk, and the prices, really, the amounts are going higher. No matter whether you sit, whether you don't, the reality about it, whether you ignore, is that these prices, these amounts of monies in debt that each of us has to pay as a Ugandan are actually going higher. So let's not lose hope. Let's not be hopeless. Let us have some hope and do our part in all this. Until tomorrow, please join us again, and thank you so much for staying here. Bye-bye.